And as it's still developing, every time there's a new launch, it's a race between hackers and the dev teams to, basically either hack that smart contract or save it from hacking. So we provide that sort of extra coverage to avoid the that particular risk, and as well as any sort of bug. So even though these protocols might be audited, they might be super secure. There's always a chance that they can be hacked anyway. So even if you look at the last few weeks, you've got EasyFi Network, you've got Bunny Swap, and Christ, I can't remember the last one. But even that, between those two alone, it was something like $270 million were hacked from those protocols. So by using a DeFi insurance protocol like InsurAce, preferably InsurAce for us, you actually mitigate that particular risk, which essentially, that just provides that investors with that extra layer of security and trust in the DeFi ecosystem. So, in terms of the market share, and just available market space, it's an incredible space. I mean, the DeFi TVL seems to sort of fluctuate wildly depending on market volatility, but it reached up to 130 billion at one point just a couple of weeks ago, just before that sort of slight crash. And because of that, there's a huge amount of money that's been invested in DeFi right now across the board, and there's a crazy figure that something like less than 3% is actually insured, which means that quite a lot of that money is at risk to smart contract hacks and bugs. Now, we're not saying that's likely to happen, but just for that extra peace of mind, just in case something does happen, then that's when you come to us to insure your bags and make sure that risk is mitigated. You're still going to get your great returns on your yields, on your staking, on your mining, but at least you are secure against any of the risks that would normally be associated with outside attacks. Even if you've been audited, even if you've been checked up, that's where the insurance services really come in, just to mitigate that risk against any sort of hacks or intrinsic bugs that may or may not be noticed. We're also the first protocol out there to offer insurance services for IDOs. So at a point where a lot of new protocols are most vulnerable at IDO, we are the first insurance services to be able to offer insurance services to cover IDO events to avoid any sort of lost funds through hacks on IDOs. So yeah, that's pretty much top view of the market and the reasons that you would look for some DeFi insurance to protect your assets, and even still, you're still going to get obviously great returns. It's still very early days in crypto and DeFi, so for now it's just one of those things that it should and will be almost like every protocol gets an audit. Every protocol should have some form of insurance service offered to clients and users who wish to use it.
Yeah, that's insurance protocols are probably one of the biggest missing pieces, I think, in the DeFi, in the DeFi ecosystem right now. It's because DeFi is so risky and considered so risky, right, in comparison to traditional finance. And to onboard those new users, to bring that massive amount of money in, something like an insurance protocol is pretty much absolutely necessary. And what you said, 3% at the moment of DeFi protocols are insured. What do you kind of see that being by the end of this year, for example?
I mean, it's a chicken and egg thing, really. I mean, we hope it's a lot higher by the end of the year. I think that there are probably more protocols out there launching on a day-to-day basis than there are insurance services being offered to cover. And then the take-up of insurance will, be slow. Unfortunately, there have been examples of, hacks of insurance services themselves, and luckily, that's why we aim to have reinsurance to cover ourselves in case that happens. But then, Cover was a famous one that got hacked while listed on Binance. You've got even an example for Nexus Mutual, which the owner's private wallet was hacked. So that's not technically a fault in their own smart contract, but so it's hard to sort of build up that reputation, and that adoption will come along. And as the insurance market improves, and we develop new products that help to bring that along and cover more risks, I think there'll be a lot more adoption. At the moment, though, like I said, the DeFi space is just growing so rapidly. So I'm not sure where the total percentage will be, but that say it's somewhere between 2 and 3% at the moment. if the DeFi space keeps growing, that actual total value of coverage provided will grow at the same rate as DeFi as a whole. But I hope the adoption is a lot higher as the more protocols come out, as the more services we offer, and the more options we have, and with greater value locked in our own protocol, and with different services that we can offer. We hope that those premiums will come down, which will basically mean that eventually, adding insurance will be just as easy as adding it to a flight you're booking.
Yeah, awesome. I think decentralized, easy, accessible insurance is kind of the aim of the game, right? And I do think, I think that's what's gonna carry the space to the next level. Is people being able to feel safe, with track records, and there's multiple choices. For example, InsurAce as an example, but companies, institutions, people being able to be insured on their yield, on their farming, or even just any use of DeFi protocols. I think that's probably the most important thing that's going to come out of this space this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just one that, like I said, it's one of those things that will become, every protocol before they launch or even after they launch now seeks to get an audit pretty much as like a standard as a crypto investor and trader myself on the side, as for most people. I think that one of my personal check boxes is to look to see whether the protocol has had a particular audit, and then the quality of the audit. I think that insurance services will become exactly the same as that. So it'll be a tick box to say whether, excuse me, whether the protocol is actually offers insurance, and then the quality of the insurance offered. And us, InsurAce, as one of only actually a handful of launched insurance services, because you're right, there are a lot of people in this space and moving into the space, but at the moment there's only a very few that are actually live with products. There are many that have been promising products for months, even a year or longer, that are yet to release anything. And I think that, again, it's DeFi at the end of the day. There's going to be a lot of hype around these sort of things. But, as one of the very few that actually has a live product, gives us a really good sort of foundation and benchmark to improve. And the rate of improvement that we have already is incredible. Like I said, we launched our mainnet 6-7 weeks ago. In less than a week after that, we'd hit our sort of initial staking cap. We launched our insurance services. And then we've launched this full spectrum multi-chain service now with native tokens in BSC Echo and Polygon and Solana coming up very soon. So the rate of innovation is crazy. I mean, for us to keep bringing out these new products at this rate is great for us, and it's going to be hard for competitors to keep up with that.
For sure. And I like that kind of thing you're saying about everyone now has an audit as a given, and everyone soon will have an insurance. For me, it's even better, because I think an audit kind of gives a short-term view, IDOs, initial investment, but a good insurance protocol gives the idea that, the long-term view, that the devs or, whoever's working on the protocol wants it to be there for a long time and wants people to feel comfortable using it for a long time.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that actually, by offering the insurance services and showing that you are happy to have that coverage and offer that to your users, I think it sort of suggests that you are not likely to do a rug pull. I think it suggests a higher level of confidence in the protocol itself, which helps drive price and drives confidence in the team and the overall protocol.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I'm gonna just step in real quick because we've just been joined by Jason from Krystal app, and if it's okay with you guys, before we get back into our deep dive and our high level overview of the different projects, I'd like to just get a quick introduction from Krystal app from Jason, just to give our listeners a quick little brief intro, and then we'll get back with our deep dive.
Yeah, thank you guys. So my name is Jason, and I come from the Krystal app, a decentralized platform that allows users to access all the DeFi services. To be frank, it's the midnight in our country now, and I almost forgot the community call with at MPH. Actually, our CEO Sunny should be the guest of this call, but since like he already sleeps, so yeah, I show up here. Yeah, so basically, I entered the crypto market in 2019, and at that moment I joined Kyber Network, and we have our own central decentralized exchange with the name Kyber Swap. But after 1.5 years, we decided to revamp our product to the Krystal app. It means that we don't need to stick to the Kyber network anymore. So with Krystal app, we have more flexibility, and we can integrate with any kind of DeFi platform, even with other protocols like Uniswap, SushiSwap, and other chains like Binance Smart Chains, Solana, Avalanche, etc. Yeah, and I'm great to be here.
It's great to have you. Thank you for joining us. And a quick reminder to the listeners, we are accepting questions via Discord as well as Telegram. Or if you do have questions later on, we will be opening it up to the floor. So just please request or just raise your hand and we will try to get to you. Jason, was there anything sort of, if you wanted to give us sort of like a deep dive into Krystal and what sort of solutions you guys are trying to achieve with the project and the protocol, just to give our listeners a better, full, sort of a more rounded understanding of the project, that'd be great.
Yeah, okay. So so you can imagine that Krystal is a smart wallet similar to the other platform like Trust Wallet or MetaMask. But the different thing is that we try to do the native integrations with the other platform. For example, if you use Trust Wallet or MetaMask, so you need to access to Uniswap or PancakeSwap on Binance Smart Chain, for example, via a dart browser, right? So you need to enter the URL of the website, and yeah, and you need to connect your wallet, and you choose the token to perform a swap. But we did we do integration with the Kyber protocol and Uniswap on Ethereum, and we do the integration with PancakeSwap on Binance Smart Chain. So we bring the convenience for the end users, because you can know that not many users they are familiar with the own things in DeFi. Especially, for example, in my country, many of my friends they trying to catch the idea of the blockchain and crypto and the DeFi, and it's very difficult for them at the beginning to interact with Uniswap and with the uh, uh, non-custodial wallet and etc. And the other things that we also have many other DeFi service like saving. We also do the integrations with Aave and Compound. So if you access to our Krystal mobile app, you will see in the earn screen, there will be the combination of the owned pools with the APY of different tokens there, and we will pick up the best pools with the and we will pick up the pools with the best APY for the end users. So you can access to Aave or Compound service with one or two clicks. And in our roadmap, we will move on with Venus.finance integrations on Binance Smart Chain. And we also access to the other chains like Solana and Polygon Matic in the next month. And the other things that, and the other interesting thing that we are working with 88 MPH team. So probably that we can, do integrations with 88 MPH team in our earnings service later on. Yeah, that's the thing that we are doing right now.
That's perfect. That's awesome. I'm happy you brought that up, Jason, because that leads us to our next segment of the call, actually. And I'm going to bring this back to Dan. We just wanted to sort of, pick your brain a little bit and talk about the idea of, integrations with 88 MPH and what your thoughts were with regards to that. I know that, Jason, you just mentioned that, but Dan, I'm not sure, and McFly or Zephram, if you guys want to pop in here, or Josh, or anyone else, just with regards to this segment about integrations with 88 MPH, would love to hear your thoughts or ideas. We can start with you, Dan.
Yep. Yeah, no, 88 is it's a fantastic protocol with huge volume of TVL at the moment. I mean, on one hand, it was just they offered some insurance services already, and we just thought we could do better. There's a fundamental crux to it. But in terms of a value add, it's a great protocol. It's got the community behind 88 is super strong, and it's just a different approach to DeFi investment, which between the fixed loan rates and the bonds through the protocol, it's something that's quite a unique take on generating value in DeFi that is great in terms of for insurance, because it means that it actually works out relatively lower risk compared to other protocols, and which is why we can offer such strong premiums for it. But the real thing is, I mean, it's still there's always the risk, but the fact that the team, as we talked about before, is happy to provide not only just one insurance service, the fact that there's actually multiple choices on there, just shows that they are really aiming to mitigate that risk, offer a solid platform for people to trust in, trust them to essentially give them a solid consistent return. And I think that's going to be something that's going to lead the way for a lot of other protocols, because while a lot of people in DeFi and generally crypto are trying to go parabolic with everything they do, at some point sustainable returns is going to be something that's going to really take over, and it's not really talked about too much right now, but MPH is doing the right thing, definitely for the long term. And like we said before, these sort of actions in terms of adding mitigating risks and making sure that the users are confident in the protocol and the team just show that if they're focusing on the long term rather than quick short term returns.
Yeah, I agree with you completely on that. McFly, did you have any comments about what Dan was just talking about?
Yeah, like definitely it's like we are trying to tackle a market that is like nascent right now. Is like it's starting to be more and more present in the like DeFi ecosystem. This kind of discourse regarding yield and how you can make something into a long-term horizon with like duration that are still untested right now. You can earn a lot of yield on a short-term period, and it's really volatile. But our goal is not like really there. Like what we want is making sure that you can have like a stream of income with a fixed yield that can be like on a long-term duration. Currently, we are offering 1 year duration. It's the maximum, but we don't want to just stop there. We can like, for sure, there is way to build more long-term duration, but we are not yet there. It will require a lot of iteration, I suppose. Like right now, we are focusing with Zephram on especially increasing the solvency, increasing the way we can de-risk and bringing more layers to our de-risking our de-risking strategy, and basically InsurAce is part of it. It's covering the smart contract risk. We are eager to collaborate with them also on other coverage like financial risk. There is a lot of stuff to explore there also, but we are not yet there. But like, for example, credit default swap is really something that is worth exploring in the following months, years that come. And yeah, it's probably going to happen at some point. And it will be a pleasure to build all of that with InsurAce for sure.
Absolutely. It's always about, collaborating with different DeFi projects. I'm going to open up the call now to some questions that I'm sure some have. We're going to check the Discord as well as the Telegram group. And while we're doing that, I actually had a question for Dan with regards to the insurance. I'm going to be honest, I think that I'm a little bit more familiar with how Cover does things. And I was just curious if I can just get a better understanding to like who's actually who's taking on the risk with regards to the coverage. Is it similar to how Cover Protocol handles theirs? Is there like a market making process? And then I was wondering if there's a KYC process. I can't remember which other insurance. I think you meant, I don't know if it was it Nexus maybe? I don't know if they have KYC, but just curious on those two items about KYC and like just the actual, if there's like a market making process with regards to coverage.
Yeah, happy to go through both those. KYC, Nexus has KYC. We do not, which is, I think, a preference for most DeFi users. We will be working out a way around it as we have a partnership with Latentry. And for anyone who doesn't know what Latentry protocol is, it is a decentralized identity protocol that essentially allows you to get verified without in one central protocol that then verifies you in other places, rather than having to verify yourself in every single protocol, which is super exciting for the future. In terms of market makers, we do use market makers. Our investors are fantastic as well, great support. But the way that the main coverage works is the fact that we have a huge volume of stakers that provide the sort of fundamental coverage, and that stake gets split in. Obviously, they get rewarded very well for it, somewhere between 30 to 50% on average returns. We've also got liquidity mining as well, through which can generate huge returns with Uniswap V3 at the moment. But the way it works is that pool of stake essentially can be used as we've got a minimum capital reserve that gets used to cover any sort of claim risk, and any premiums also go into that same pot. Then the minimum gets kept aside just to make sure that we've got the minimum risk covered, and then the rest of those funds get used for investment purposes elsewhere to generate higher returns, and significantly higher than other competitors out there, just because we use a split method between high risk and low risk investments that allow us to generate higher yields, higher returns, which inevitably not only provide minor rewards and returns, but also will generate greater value on a token, and finally also help to reduce our premiums further down the line. So it all goes back into the community. It all goes back into the actual process for providing insurance. So it's slightly more unique. There's a lot of details in our white paper about it, but it just allows us to invest the funds a lot smarter. In terms of the insurance services themselves, so we work with both sort of DeFi insurance specialists in our tech team, and who do the risk assessments, and also traditional investment insurance specialists. So that helps us to build really, really good quality insurance services and products, and it's constantly evolving, constantly developing. So it's it's always a work improvement, a work in motion, and constantly improving month by month at the moment.
Dan, another question for you coming in is, what's your vision with regards to decentralized insurance, going way, way forward into the future? I know that there's a lot of interesting projects bringing things like real estate onto the blockchain, and there's all different types of ideas of tokenization. How do you see the insurance landscape playing out with regards to bringing some of those items? Have you given thought to that? Is that even maybe in the roadmap down the road? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually working on this is on our V2 product, and probably even V3 to be honest. But it's definitely in the goal to provide a sort of an add-on insurance service to any sort of value proposition. Again, a bit like how you can just tick a box when you book a flight to add insurance to cover that flight, and travel insurance. We're going to try and offer that for essentially DeFi to begin with, following on for any other sort of crypto asset investment. Just to offer that sort of coverage, but obviously that's a bit further along. We're focusing on making things work and be safe to begin with, getting our fundamentals right, and getting ourselves listed onto the right exchanges so that we can at least be as accessible as possible to as many people in the world who use crypto and DeFi. But down the road, absolutely. I mean, it's an integral part of life day to day, and as more protocols launch to cover more traditional aspects of the world we live in, so will the insurance requirement come through as well. And then it's just up to people like us and our tech guys to develop a product that can fill that need.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Got a question in here for Jason. It's just with regards to your swap feature. If you could just speak about some of the fees and how they compare against to, let's just say, a MetaMask or even a Uniswap. If you could just talk a little bit about the swap feature and the fees associated with it.
Yeah, okay. As you know right now, Uniswap normally they take 0.3 percentage of the fee, and with Kyber Protocol they take another number of the fee. So with different protocols, so we still take that fee for the protocols, and we will have 0.08 percentage on the top of that. So like if you choose to perform a swap with Uniswap, so you will need to pay 0.38% of the fee, and in combination with the other with the other smart release like MetaMask, normally I remember that they can take around 0.5 up to 1% of the fee. So it's quite competitive. And the other thing that I want to say here is that we launched with a very special referral programs. So normally there's no really there's no any attractive referral program in the DeFi, even with 1inch exchange. So if you refer your friends come to their platform, they only pay you for the first transactions of your friend. But with the Krystal, we will generate referral codes for the new users, so they can share their codes to your friend and individual and each of their friend when they perform any transactions, you will get a commission, and it will be perpetual. I mean that you don't need to do any minimum requirements in order to get commissions. And the other thing is that so you can consider the commissions come from the fee that we charge on the top of Uniswap. So normally we almost forward 100% of the fee we charge to the end users from the beginning. And the other thing, not only swap, other activities inside the app, we also reward users some small in incentive or bonus, and all that kind of bonus and commissions we will convert to the Ether. So to the Ether on Ethereum, and we convert to the BNB on Binance Smart Chain. So so normally when you join the referral program, you can redeem our point to get Ether or BNB back to your wallet without any requirement.
It's it's a really cool system actually. I've been looking through it recently. I do have a question actually though for you, Jason. What's going to happen with the KNC token, the Kyber KNC token? Is it is there any crossover between the KNC token, or is it the same one that's being used on Krystal?
Actually, KNC should be the scope of Kyber network. Kyber network and Krystal are two different entities. But I think I can answer your questions.
Sure, thank you.
So with the KMC, we do the migrations from the old KMC to the new KMC model. So with the new KMC model, we can mint more KMC. Thereby, we can we can incubate for the new projects in our ecosystem. So with the new KMC, is we have a burning model, burning mechanism, and minting new KMC mechanism at the same moment. And by providing the flexibility to KMC, so we hope that it can grow Kyber network ecosystem significantly. And going with the new model of KMC, so the way KyberDAO monitor on things also will be different. So before the migrations, KyberDAO also only governs one protocol. But after the migrations, you can consider Kyber will become a hub of many protocols. So we don't stick with the old protocol, which only have two kind of reserve, APR and FPR reserve anymore. So we remove the constraint and we allow the flexibility for any ideas of the new protocols that can be that can bring the better bring the better capital efficiency or better risk for the market makers. We will welcome them to our ecosystem, and we will reward them. We will fund them with our new minted KNC. And on the top of that, the KyberDAO will govern all the different protocols, and the KyberDAO also collect all the fees from those protocols. So that's the biggest difference between the old and new model of KNC and KyberDAO.
Thank you very much for saying this. It seems like you're just setting yourself up for the future, allowing yourself to grow a bit more in the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. Whipper, there was a question that you wanted to ask?
Actually, I think there was a question coming in from the audience. So please feel free. The floor is open. Go ahead.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. I had a question for McFly from 88. So I'm a DeFi user and I've been following the InsurAce project. And obviously, I mean, we think it's just logical that, better insurance services would bring more people. But since you guys are actually in the business, do you have any data behind that, any growth metrics that are attached to the idea that more people are going to be adopting this technology if there are, adequate insurance offers in place?
That's a really good question. To be honest, no, we are not tracking, and it's like kind of hard to track this kind of metric right now. But it's definitely something we plan to start following closely, in the sense that what we want, the way we want to iterate is spending more time on things that really matter and spending less time on things that doesn't really bring any value to 88MPH. So that's one point. And like, of course, if we are like spending a lot of time on dealing with solvency issue or de-risking in different way, the protocol basically building other layers around our de-risking strategy by partnering with Ensure or other protocol. We really need to take care of like the time we spend on that, and that's like really the ratio between benefits and cost. So it's really important for us to track that. But right now, like we are on mainnet since November 2020, so it's kind of like we don't have a lot of track record to kind of measure and the most important thing is comparing like the different growth metrics. So yeah, it's really a good question, because when you are doing product development, is one thing you need to do really good is like tracking what you are doing and trying to measure things. But yeah, right now I'm curious. Maybe Dan, you have like other way of doing that more efficiently at InsurAce. I don't know, like how you track your progress with growth metric and the way to see from where the growth is coming. I think is the most important thing. I don't know if you have an opinion, Dan.
Yeah, obviously it's a really interesting question. How do you track growth based on adding insurance to a particular protocol? I mean, again, I think it's just a question of, it obviously builds user confidence compared to a similar one, but because so many DeFi projects are so unique, it's hard to sort of A, track internally, and B, track comparatively. Everything grows so fast, and there's always so many other factors that come into growth. I think adding insurance services to a particular protocol is a good thing, and I don't think anyone would disagree and say it's not a good thing to add to, have as an option at least. But at the same time, obviously you want to track like what significance that can actually mean to someone, and it's something we should actually look at ourselves, because I mean, hey, that's a great way of marketing our products. If we can sort of promise growth on top of adding our services to a particular protocol. So I think the answer is no, not right now. But again, as I was saying earlier, I think as adoption of insurance services becomes a lot more fluid and natural, I think those growth metrics will just be able to appear. I think it's just a case of being able to, it's just another thing to help with co-marketing, cross-promotion, which all inevitably leads to growth in some form or other. So yes, I think it does add to growth. How can we track that at the moment? I guess you could track by new users after an announcement, but again, that's just a bit of extra cross promotion that could be for anything really. So it is a very, very hard one to track, but I mean, like I said, I don't think anyone would disagree and say that adding insurance to a particular protocol is a bad thing.
Yeah, and I'm thinking also the current way of setting up premium for coverage, especially regarding smart contract risk for a young protocol like us. There is probably room for growth there, like trying to decrease the premium, trying to make it more accessible for different kind of user, especially when you are targeting lower fee protocol, Polygon or Binance or other chains that are like really starting to get big in terms of market share, and it's kind of not the same user base, if I can say it like that. It's like a more user-friendly environment, and probably the premium on cover is another important metric when you are looking to like some solution for guaranteeing your capital, covering the risk. And I'm wondering then, what's your opinion regarding the premium? Are you having like some strategy to price this according to the chain, or is like more simple than that? Like, do you think there is like, does it make sense to price differently the premium for different blockchain?
Yeah, so we already do, based on our risk assessment of each protocol we work with. We give them essentially a risk score, and that allows us to base different levels of premium the different protocols. I think probably the bigger thing initially is to get as many protocols on board with InsurAce as possible to offer the widest range of services out there. And it's a chicken and egg thing. By more adoption, it helps us bring down our premiums again, because it allows us to reinvest the premiums as wisely as possible, generates returns, which only feeds back into offering lower premiums. So for us, it is a chicken and egg thing, and it's something that I am constantly bouncing between trying to increase, and between that and staking pools and generally getting new protocols on board. So obviously lower premiums are better for customers and users, for protocols, for even for ourselves. Lower protocols means wider adoption, bigger customers, and more people and more users at the end of the day to help build our community of users. And that's something that is obviously hugely important to us. So, but at the same time, at these early stages and with young protocols, the risks are inherently slightly higher. So that's why the premiums are slightly higher for now. It's early days for us as well, and these are just levels that the best we can do is be more affordable than our competitors. And again, that's another factor as well. As more competitors come out into DeFi insurance, then that's only going to help drive the price down further as we find better ways, more efficient ways of doing so. And yes, as soon as we can launch onto more cost-effective chains, that will also help bring down the premium prices. So it's something we're reviewing, working on, because by bringing premium price down for other protocols we work with, it only improves our own service and our user base. So it is something we're looking at, and as soon as we can, we'll be reviewing and bringing those premiums down. But for now, they're set at, I suppose, industry levels, but with our own risk assessment, again, a combination of DeFi audit check, risk assessments, and everything that just sort of deems that price. And again, we just try and be as cost effective relative to our competitors as possible, at a fair value that we can offer at this time.
Yeah, that's really really important, and I suppose we will see a lot of evolution in the following months when the markets start to be more mature. Last question from my part for you, Dan, is regarding your strategy for capital allocation. What's your current strategy, and how do you see it will evolve in the following months to start trying to generate some yield for all the capital you are currently managing? What's the plan?
Yeah, so the investment side is crafted by someone else on the team, but from my understanding, the best, obviously we want not just super high risk and nothing too crazy out there, but the aim is to invest, and especially with some of our partners as well. It works both ways. We've done risk assessments on them, where they're trusting us with insurance coverage, and so there's absolutely no reason we shouldn't be doing the same thing in terms of our investment funds. So in terms of the strategy, it's people we work with. I know that the tech guys are closely linked through our investors as well, and our investors will be working on the investment strategy quite closely with us. So I'm assuming it'll be quite tied into people we already work with, and or are connected through various partners and investors, just to sort of again add that sort of slight extra layer of security. So with the details of that aren't out yet, as we're still raising through our staking pools to get to a certain level before we can start looking at investment. As I said, it's still very early days for us as well. So we need to get to a certain minimum level before we can really start. So at the moment, with the minimum staking pool we've already got at the moment, it covers the next level of the amount of insurance premiums for the protocols that we're covering. So it gives us enough base to offer the insurance services the best quality we can at the lowest premiums. So the next step after that is to keep raising in our pools to be able to start our investment services. Again, a lot of this will be happening as we bring out sort of second and third chains, as it will help us to improve our overall liquidity.
Dan, another question for you. Just wondering if you thought that maybe the insurance space would have more success if the protocols themselves took out the insurance as opposed to the individual. Maybe a lot of individuals are unfortunately not inclined to do so because maybe they feel that the premium is a little bit too high and it eats into their yields. But more from a protocol perspective, what's your thought on projects specifically taking out insurance through a project like yours for their users as an added value service?
Yeah, we have actually had this conversation with a couple of protocols about the protocols themselves covering the entire risk themselves. What we found though to be best is a sort of a hybrid version. So by end users being able to take out insurance if they wish, because they might feel safer with us or with one of our competitors. So it gives them the flexibility that way, whether they want, say, for certain things like KYC or not to have KYC. Personally, I'd prefer to be able to just sell into the protocols themselves, because obviously that's it's individuals we already deal with. But at the same time, I think there's a hybrid version, like I said, that basically allows end users to purchase insurance for their own stakes and their own assets, whereas the most protocols we work with also hold a certain number of their own tokens. They also have a certain amount of liquidity and asset staked with themselves or elsewhere, and so we are approaching those protocols to also insure their own holdings as well, which is something we're actually working on quite heavily these weeks. So it's definitely something we are looking at. Whether they then choose to insure their entire protocol for all users is something we can offer and we do offer. And it also helps actually bring the premium down as well, because essentially it's a bulk transaction. But at the same time, it's something that's not done a lot right now. I think it's most focus and awareness is on the end user, but it is something, yes, we can offer, we do offer, and also are developing a lot more with our existing protocols.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan. We have a couple of minutes left for the Q&A section of the call. The floor is open to anyone who wants to jump in, so feel free. We do have a question coming in for Jason with regards to future roadmap. Do you envision, Jason, a world where you could pretty much stake and pretty much liquidity mine directly from a wallet app itself?
Yes, we also have it in our roadmap. So basically that we try to become one platform that allows users to do anything with the whole device. So even if they want to swap or just supply the stablecoin into the vault to get the interest, or even participate into the yield farming and etc. So they don't need to open multiple platforms to do it. They just can access on the services in our platform. So with our roadmap, so at this moment we are focusing on serving some basic services for users like swap and saving first. So we come with Uniswap and Kyber, Aave and Compound in Ethereum, and we come with PancakeSwap and Venus on Binance Smart Chain, and we move on with Polygon, Matic, and Solana as well. And after that, we with the earning, we try to become a passive income aggregators. So that's why I mentioned about we can do integration with 88 MPH because you comes up with a very cool ideas that you provide a fixed IPY to the users. So it's quite it's quite attractive in terms of traditional finance, because your IPY, for example, with USDC or USDT can be 15%. So it's quite lucrative for most of the end users. That's the plan, and we also we also have a plan to use our own tokens within this year, and we will think of doing retro active airdrop to our users as well. And the other things, actually, we don't have quite long long vision and roadmap for our product, because in DeFi everything change quite fast. Anything that can be trendy uh, uh, in the beginning of the years can be outdated at the end of the year. So we just try to stick to the market, and we listen to the market, and anything trendy at that moment. So we try to implement our product as fast as possible to to serve to the end users.
That's awesome. Sounds super, super interesting. It looks like we're going to wrap up the Q&A section of the call. At this point, we are going to turn over to 88 MPH to give us some more updates on the projects. I invite everyone here on the call to please join us in the 88 MPH Discord general chat for our raffle that we will be running. We will be choosing one lucky winner. So we need you to go to the general chat while we're still on the call and simply put in a number between 1 and 50. And the closest winner will receive $100 worth of 88 MPH token. So I invite everyone to do so. McFly will be dropping the actual number in our own personal chat for full transparency, and we will be announcing the winner later on. And without further ado, I will pass this on to McFly. Feel free for everyone else to stick around as long as you'd like to get more updates on 88 MPH. And we do thank everyone for their questions and for joining us. And please don't forget to participate in the raffle for your chance to win a lucky prize. McFly, take it away, bud.
Thanks, Weaver. Just to precise something for Dan and Jason, right now we'll spend like the next 10 minutes to talk about like the latest progress with 88 MPH. So if you want to stay with us, feel free to stay with us. But if you want to leave the call, don't hesitate to leave the call. I just wanted to thank you for your time. It's really great to have you in the call. And thanks, Jason, also like for being so late with us. It's 1 a.m. Where you are living right now, so really cool to have you.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. And yeah, just the last thing that I want to inform to the community is that we also have another IMI with MPH team in our community. Maybe in the end of this month. Am I right?
Yeah, June 24, if I remember. If I remember well, we will have an AMA with directly Krystal on Telegram, right?
Yeah, and right now we have around 10K members in our Telegram group and more than 20K followers on Twitter. So we hope that that AMA can bring the more brand exposure to the 88 MPH project.
Yep, that's great. Definitely looking forward.
Yeah, and thank you guys.
Yeah. Thanks for your time, Jason. And thanks, Dan. So feel free to stay with us, Dan, if you want. And I'm going to update you guys regarding our latest progress and also share with you and ask Zephram also to share like some updates regarding the development side of 88 MPH. From my side, just I wanted to update you regarding the front end, the design stuff related to basically the V3 of 88 MPH. So we are like currently in the middle of integrating the different components. We started doing that since last week. So we are still in the progress and still in the process of integrating all of that. There was like a few last minute changes regarding the UI and the user experience overall. But yeah, like it's in good progress. So we are still adding for like targeting a release for June, mid-June. And yeah, like as for example, Jason was mentioning, we are like in the process also of like talking with different protocols to see how we can collaborate together to create synergy, having native integration, for example, with Krystal. Krystal is like basically the go-to applications for people who don't want to deal with like complex user interface. So it's like kind of like a Coinbase where you can interact directly with DeFi protocols. So it's really cool to have that, and it's a really good way for us to leverage other protocol and just integrating 88 MPH under the hood. So that's really great. Yeah, Zephyr, do you want to update us regarding other aspects like security, testing, stuff like that?
Yeah, not much, not many updates to be honest. Just doing more testing.
Yep. And
if
for talking about that, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to announce the winner of our draw, if that's okay, just for some of our listeners, or would you prefer I do that at the end?
Yeah, just 10 seconds to finish the subject regarding the security stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Update regarding testing.
Oh yeah, we're not. We're not done with 88 MPH. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. So we are still waiting the report from C4, the community of auditors. They told us like it will be probably ready by the end of this week. So we are looking forward for that. But for your information, there was like some findings. The firm was addressing them, acknowledging them, or just discussing with the auditors regarding the way it can impact 88 MPH. So there was a bunch of them. And yeah, the last weeks were invested into this kind of issues, solving them, updating the code, and doing more testing. So that's probably it for the biggest updates regarding our progress. So nothing new, just like continuing working on that and targeting mid-June for releasing it.
Awesome. I'm going to open up the floor if anyone has any questions specifically for 88 MPH, whether it's regards to updates, future updates, anything that they want to talk about. Please go ahead. The floor is open. McFly, we have a question coming in. Obviously, nothing to hold you to it, but just if you can give our listeners just a rough estimate when V3 will actually be launched. Very, very rough. Nothing to hold you against it specifically.
Yeah, so we are targeting mid-June. There is no specific date. It's like not exact science, as you may know, so it's just a rough estimate. We were targeting late May, but as always, like there is always some surprise when you are developing new versions. So we prefer to postpone and don't rush anything. And there is no need to rush also. So it's like better to make sure everything we are pushing on mainnet is working correctly. So yeah, that's the main goal. So it was preferable to wait and ship something. We are targeting mid-June, and we will see. But like, yeah, as I said, everything is going well, so it's probably going to happen soon.
That's awesome. If no one else has any further questions, we can go ahead and announce the winner, and then we can go ahead and wrap the call. So I'll just pause for brief couple seconds here to open the floor if anyone has any last minute questions. Okay, with that being said, our lucky winner is 0xSZETH, who got he actually got the correct number of number 8. So congratulations. and we will send you $100 worth of 88 MPH. I believe we will do so through Discord using the tip CC bot. Congratulations and thank you. And with that being said, we are going to wrap the call. A big special thank you to our guests, InsurAce and Krystal app. Please feel free to check them out online, as well as their Discords and their Telegram groups to get more information about them. And always feel free to join us at 88MPH on Discord, as well as Telegram, as well as our Twitter. Lots of information, lots of things happening. We thank everyone for coming out to our community call, and we look forward to hosting you again next week. So thanks everyone for coming out. And if there's anything last minute things anyone wants to say, feel free to stick around, but this will be the official close. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Rubo. Thanks, everyone.